Good morning, Wakali Woods. Today we will be covering some information about the recently occurred Pearl Harbor attack. We are currently here with a larger crew than usual in order to cover the specifics.
Included will be the statistics of the event so far, the reasons behind the event, and some other general details relating to the event itself.
Indeed. Currently, we have Giovanna ready to do a live interview with Biscat about what happened on the day of December 7th, 1941. With that being said, Giono, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Fulabi. So, since you're the newer member of our crew, how about you introduce yourself?
Sure, I am Biscat, part of the Wakani research team, but you could just call me Biscat.
Okay, so let's start off with what one could say is the elephant in the room. So, what do you know about the Pearl Harbor attack?
Well, here's the basics. From what we've concluded, a variety of Japanese forces attacked Pearl Harbor by surprise, targeting the United States naval fleet.
Interesting. What has planned to have been done to the American naval forces as a result of this?
Essentially, this attack mainly attempted to weaken the American forces by targeting an array of ships, along with a general slowing down of the country in terms of the ongoing Second World War. It is also done as a sign of aggression by the Japanese, try to intimidate the Americans to stay out of the Japanese military actions in the Southeast Asia with the intent of fighting against the Allies.
And what actually happened? Did any of this work or go according to plan?
For starters, it did. The initial attack launched by the Japanese forces was a success, with little loss for them. After the attack, however, many of the battleships ended up surviving and fighting in the war against Japan later. Only the smaller ships on the fleet were lost. They also did not attack notable base installations on that island, as they thought it would be unnecessary, making it easier for the United States to recover. It ended the Japanese forces and still managed to damage them and send a message. The problem with this message they conveyed had produced much more of a different effect on the war than they intended. What I mean by this is the United States joined the war and began participating in major efforts on the side of the Allies as soon as the day after the attack, which was exactly what the Japanese were trying to prevent, or at least delay. This seems to be one of the few truly ironic situations in which an action that had a completely different effect in comparison with the original intention.
I see. How else did the United States respond to this?
The first efforts included ramping up the production of military supplies for the Allied forces, who were already involved in the war, following by the bombing directed towards Tokyo and surprising naval attacks. Their final large response was directly relating to Japan's attack, was the nuking of Japan, which occurred twice in total before they surrendered.
That must have been a tough decision weighing upon the backs of American officials.
Indeed, but it was also quite effective.
Now, while I'd love to go further into detail on this attack, this discussion is part of a topic that's for another analysis episode. With that being said, I'd like to thank you for joining me in this interview.
No problem.
Back to you, Fulabi.
Thank you for that great interview, Mr. Giovanna. It seems our new research member is already quite skilled in their craft. I find it interesting that such a small country is so confident in defeating or even intimidating a world superpower, let alone with such consistency. While as of now we do know quite a bit about the specifics of the event, we have yet to cover the statistics and the numbers. So, Jim, who will be covering these?
Well, for that following topic, we will have Dr. Anesthesia cover the amount of American casualties in detail, along with the exact amount of damage done to the American Navy as a result of this attack. And you may take the wheel.
Thank you, Jim. Starting off with overall numbers, this attack has amassed a total estimated number of 2,335 American casualties. Of these casualties, 2,008 of those people were naval men. Another 218 were Army men, and 109 of them were Marines. All the other casualties were American citizens. There were also nearly 1,200 Americans injured as a result of this incident. Now, while these numbers do seem relatively precise, it is important to be lenient as estimations regarding this event do vary. We do not have an actual precise count of every single person involved, along with exactly what happened to them at this time, and neither do our sources, but this can give everyone a relative idea of what was lost in this attack. American forces also lost a total of 4 battleships, 1 harbor tag, and 1 ex-battleship, and 188 aircraft. 4 more battleships, 3 destroyers, 3 cruisers, 159 aircraft, and 3 other ships were damaged. Another 3 aircraft were also lost in this attack due to being shot down. And that is all we have for the numbers regarding American-related casualties. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Dr. Anesthesia. Based on the numbers, this attack seems to be of notable importance, with all the people who were harmed and even killed in the process. I can see why the United States was so quick to declare war after such an incident.
Indeed.
Recently, we have also obtained some quotes from around the world in response to this event that appear to be quite significant. We'll have Fulabi cover these quotes after this short message. With that being said, be sure to stay tuned.
The event is here. It is coming. The future of Wakaliwood is to be decided on the upcoming Wakaliwood Election Day. It is up to you to vote. That's right, you. Are you too young to vote? We don't care, because this advertisement applies to every audience. Vote anyway. Are you dead? Vote. Illegal? Vote. Do you not exist? Cool, because you can also vote. In Wakaliwood, anything can be a vote. We are all inclusive. Do the results make any sense? No. Random vote spikes help confuse literally everyone. It's not even an election anymore. It's a lottery. You can either vote for a rotting old man whom you do not even know the origins of, or a fat rich orange who says too many controversial things on Twitter. It is up to you to decide. And don't forget to attend the upcoming fraud games. We all get to have headaches dealing with this stupid election. It doesn't matter what side you're on, just make sure to attend and trust the words of random people in a court. And don't forget to remember that fact checkers on Twitter define every. We apologize for the inconvenience, but this advertisement has been removed since it is not politically correct enough. Remember to forget about the election because it is too sensitive, and then we have no idea why you voted for your candidate. Back to the studios. And we are back in the studios. Around the world, many notable people have responded to this event with their thoughts. On the day after the attack, Franklin D. Roosevelt acknowledged it. His full statement is as follows. Yesterday, December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. George Smith Patton Jr., a United States Army officer, also made a statement regarding the United States position on the war. His statement is as follows. May God have mercy upon my enemies, because I won't. This goes to show the overall reaction of the United States as a result of this entire attack. In short, they did not take it lightly. There also have been many motivational quotes for all of the allies, especially during this time as America began to join the war. Interestingly enough, even a Japanese admiral, Isoroku Yamamoto, admitted to the flaws of their attack and what it caused, stating that all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve. Some other quotes have been identified, but these seem to be the most important in conveying the same intended message. With that being said, Jim, what will we be covering next?
Following this, we also have some coverage regarding some information about what has been happening in Europe around the time of the attack. For this interview, I'll be interviewing Macaroni. Allow me a moment. Alright, let's get to the interview. So Mac, what has been going around in Europe around the time of this attack?
Well, according to our overseas informants, the war has been raging on as the Axis powers continue to slowly dominate the Allies. Although Axis powers have been pushed back at times, they have been gradually taking over with time. Although hope has seemed to be running out for Allied forces, the recent Pearl Harbor attack has served as reassurance as it meant that the United States would soon join the war.
I see. What about on the same date of the attack? What was happening in Europe at that time?
Well, on that specific day, German forces were actually pushed back by small amounts. The British Navy also destroyed one of their submarines.
Interesting. And how did Europe respond to the bombing?
Well, officials released some statements acknowledging the attack and the support it would bring them, and they continued fighting as best as possible as they were now reassured that support was on its way.
I see. Well, with that being said, that is all we need to know about Europe as of now. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Now back to the studios.
Thank you, Jim. It appears that this attack has been quite influential around the world. Not only did it awaken the giant we call the United States, but it also motivated the Allies and helped them win the war. Although I cannot give credit to Japan for their foolish actions in this war, I'll be honest, their confidence was pretty impressive. With that being said, that is all we have for this episode. We'll see you next time on Wakani News.